Hi everybody, John Martinson here. You can call me Robo, everybody else does. Okay, so this is an extremely simple tutorial for migrating from Series 11 to Series 12. Okay, now, don't overcomplicate this, but please pay attention because there are a few files that you need to be aware of that really do need to be migrated, but nothing to worry about because you'll see in a second that once you get a copy of your existing home folder, which you go to File System, okay, and you go to Home, and there you see it. That's your username. Mine is Robo. Okay, I'll put it up here. Now I'm going to load my 2 terabyte drive. Now I already have a Robo in there, and I'm going to go ahead and get rid of it. Okay, because I want a nice, fresh, current backup of all the files in my home directory. Okay, there's no need to be backing up system files unless you've got something custom like I do, but most people don't. If you do, well, then you can always contact Robolinux and I'll help you through that process. Okay, so now what do we do? Okay, well, it couldn't be easier. In the home directory, the real hard drive over here on the left, we have the entire username folder called Robo. We right click it, press copy, go over to the external drive. In my case, it's a 2 terabyte Western Digital. And now in some white space, we right click and press paste. Now, depending on how many files you have, and in my case, it's going to be 23.7 gigabytes. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this and wait for it to copy, and then I'll come back to you. Okay, so now the 23 gigabytes is done copying from the real home directory on your hard drive. In my case, an SSD. I recommend you get an SSD. They're dirt cheap, 240 gigs, $40. No excuse now. I mean, they're cheaper than hard drives. So we've got all the files over here now. And if we look at the 2 terabyte, we have the Robo directory, our folder. And what do we have over here? Well, it's identical. Okay, now here's what you are also backing up, which is really critical, especially for me. If you press Control H, you're going to see all the dot folders, okay? Now, 90% of these, if not even more, are not necessary when you go do a restore or a migration from 11 to 12, because you do not want to be overwriting new configuration or old configuration files on top of new configuration files, and that's the only tricky part, but I'm going to teach you how to get around that. Okay, so now the next thing we have to do is go ahead and install our Series 12 so that we can then use our external drive over here to move the correct files from the backup. And always hold on to your external drive backup for a little while in case you forgot to move a file. And of course what I do, I stick them in storage over here. Let's see, where's storage? That's right, over here. I put them in storage just to be safe. And then a few months later, I'll get rid of it. Okay, so now it's very important when you do the installation. I'm going to go ahead and throw this in here. When you do the installation of Series 12, you really need to go to the installation menu option in Robolinux, okay? And because a lot of people they don't bother to read anything and then they end up having trouble. So if you go over here now, I have 11 and 12, and pretty soon I'm going to be discontinuing 11. I can't keep up with this many operating systems. And so anyway, so we're going to go into Cinnamon, which is going to be the installation for Cinnamon. And I'm going to take you straight down to the most critical part, okay? And that is when you get ready to do an installation. Now, please read this, okay? Robolinux does not support UEFI, and we never will support UEFI. Why? Well, it's a can of worms that causes more trouble, and most people lose their hair over UEFI and secure boot. So, but it's easy to get around it because the key is that you go into your BIOS and you boot off of a non-UEFI DVD or a non-UEFI USB after you've either burned a DVD or a USB. Now, there's a very simple way to know whether or not you have booted from your BIOS into a non-UEFI USB, and that's you must see this blue screen right here. If you see any other screen, then you need to just shut down your computer and start over. Go to your BIOS and find the non-UEFI DVD or the non-UEFI USB boot option. And when you click that, you go straight to this blue screen, okay? And then when you install, you won't go to a black bricked grub screen, okay? And this is especially important for those doing dual boot. So that's very important. I don't know why nobody reads it, but it is very important. So there you have it. Okay, now I'm going to install my Series 12 Cinnamon for you, and then we'll start over. And we will restore all of our data from the Series 11 to the Series 12 new operating system. Okay, now we have Robolinux Cinnamon Series 12. And in this particular version of Cinnamon, I have gone ahead and installed the 12 Plus. And that's because I wanted to move my Stealth VM, and there is a migration tutorial for Stealth VM from Series 11 to 12 in the FAQs. You can't miss it. So when you upgrade to the 12 Plus and you get everything, then you'll be able to do a very, very easy Stealth VM migration from your Series 11 to your Series 12. It is advisable that you do the Stealth VM migration before you actually do the data migration, because you want to create that PCVHD file. And I go into great detail about how easy it is to do that in that migration video. So, all right, here we are. We've plugged in the external drive, and we have all our data. We got everything, okay? Can't possibly lose any data. It's all there, okay? So now, let me just mention something very important. Now, as you can see, I don't have my Brave browser. I can add my Windows down here because I've already put it in USR Share Applications. I don't want to confuse you, but we have a tutorial on how to do that. So you right-click it and add to panel, and I'm going to move mine back where I like it. But I don't have my Brave browser yet, and there are several other applications that I've already installed. For example, Flame, and I installed VirtualBox, okay, which you can find in 12 Plus under Stealth VM. Okay, so I want to install Brave, and whether you go to 12 Plus or not, you're going to need to install Brave if that's something that you want to use. And in my case, the way that I install it is by using the installers, okay, from 12 Plus. You can download it from the Brave website and install it yourself if you don't want to go to 12 Plus. So now there's a very big trick, okay? Once you've installed Brave, it's a snap application, and therefore you have to be careful so that you don't lose your data, okay? And the same goes for Firefox, and I'm going to show you how that works. And Thunderbird. And by the way, I've already installed Thunderbird too, and so I'm going to go ahead and put that down here. I'm going to put it in my panel. Okay, so here we go. It's very simple. Load your external drive on the left side. That's how I do it, okay, because you're going from here to over to here, okay? And so I'm going to start out with the most complicated thing first, which actually really isn't complicated, but it's something you have to remember to do. And that is I want to go to Snap, which is where my Brave browser data has got to go. Now, if I just take the Brave default, then I don't have any of my data. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to go over here to my external drive, and I want to go to my username, which is Robo, and I want to go to Snap. And all I need to do is to drag this folder over into here. Okay, now this one's going to have the wrong data in it. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of it because I just installed Brave. Now, if I just simply take this folder right here and drag it over to Snap, now I have my Brave browser data, bookmarks, passwords, so on and so forth. Okay, so it's pretty simple to do. Now, the next step is we're going to want to do Firefox, and we're going to want to do Thunderbird. Okay, and here's how that works. So on the left side, we have the 2 terabyte drive, which is the backup, and we're going to do a Control H because Mozilla is a .Mozilla. Okay, now all we have to do over here is go over to Robo and drag Mozilla over into the hard drive home user Robo. In your case, it could be home user Harry or Larry or John or whatever. So you drag this one over there into here, okay? And then the next thing you want to do is you want to drag your Thunderbird, okay? Now, if you've already installed them, guess what you have to do? You have to get rid of these files, okay? Because you can't overwrite. You want to, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to get rid of Thunderbird, okay? And I'm going to get rid of Mozilla, okay? And they're gone, okay? And so now all I'm going to do is I'm going to drag Mozilla over to here. And it's not too big. It's about 75 meg. And then I got to move my Thunderbird. So I move my Thunderbird, okay? And there it is. It's copying. And this one is 108 meg, okay? Now, what do I have? Well, now I have everything, okay? Now, if you have more applications that have data files, you can move those. They generally can be either under the hidden files or they could be under config, okay? Let's see if I have any under config. Well, I don't really need LibreOffice because I'm reinstalling that. I reinstalled my private internet access, which, oh boy, let me tell you what, check this out. The new, and the company was bought, private internet access was bought by a company in Israel, and let me tell you what they did. They speeded up their VPNs by a factor of at least 20 times faster, to the point where you can just stay connected to any, it's unbelievable the way they do this. These guys are just geniuses. They tell you what the latency is, so you can see which ones are slower and which ones are faster. But even that, I mean, just to take an example, U.S. Silicon Valley used to be like, 800 milliseconds. Well, now it's only 199. Well, it can automatically find the fastest one, and in my case, it was Singapore, which is an amazing 39 milliseconds. I mean, that's like down the street. Okay, so now I can see what IP address I have because I used a desklet to do that, and I know I'm not showing an IP address from Cambodia. If I were to switch, and I'm going to do that just for fun, I'm going to go to Taiwan. I just had to show you this because it's just remarkable what these people did. Now, it tells you already what we switched to. The VPN IP is that, and of course, if I left-click this, it's going to give it to me. See? All right. Okay. Enough on the private internet access. I actually went in and started testing. I was getting ready to switch, and then the company got sold, and the changes, first of all, they added like, I don't know, 50 times more servers. Um, they made it, I mean, at least realistically, like 10 to 20 times faster. It's just wonderful. So I like to talk about it because I think it's really worth it. All right, okay, so we've really done all that I have to do except for one little thing because I'm a programmer and I like to go into servers. And so I had to move my SSH folder in here. And it's got, special files in there so I can essentially one click into servers and do all kinds of cool stuff. And if you want the easy way to do backups, what I do is I create an actual launcher, okay? And so I just click once and I can move all my data from the home Robo into the 2 terabyte drive. And then I can go ahead and I can copy my 2 terabyte drive to my 1 terabyte drive, which is my redundant drive. And those things are launchers. And of course, they can't be built, blindly. I have to know what your paths are and before I can build them. But if it's something that you want, you can pay me to build them for you. Okay. Okay, so now that we've got the somewhat, I wouldn't really call it tricky, because if you just pay attention to this video, it's not all that difficult to copy Mozilla or .mozilla, .thunderbird, and your Brave folder over to Snap. So now let's do the super easy stuff, okay? And watch how this works, okay? It's really easy. Okay, first of all, this is your source on your external drive, and this is your target over here once again. Now, I like to start at the top, okay? So I go to Documents, okay? Well, there's the backup documents. There's I just added a couple of files there, by the way, because I'm going to be building this video. So I'm going to go ahead and move all of my data, okay? Just, look at this. So easy to do. Just, left mouse click or left drag over the folders, right click, press copy or drag them, and go over here into the white space and press paste. So and it copies them pretty quickly. Now let's go back to the source, go back to Robo, and we're going to be moving the downloads folders, okay? And here again, we're going to go back to the hard drive where Robo is, and we're going to go to downloads, and you'll see there's nothing in there. And now I'm going to move this data storage, which is really large, over into this download. So I'm going to pause. Here we go. And we have data storage. And here's what we can do just to verify that everything's there. I'm going to right click the hard drive version over here and look at properties. And it tells me that I have 13 items equaling or totaling 1.8 gigabytes. And over here in the source, which is the 2 terabyte backup, I'm going to do the same thing. And there we have exactly the same files. Okay, so it's really that easy. It's not a big deal. There's probably no point in me showing you the documents, but I will anyway. Okay, so here's documents. Okay, and as I said before, I had moved a few video files in here because I'm getting ready to build this video for you at 3:36 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, it takes about 20 to 21 hours a day to keep up with this Robolinux stuff. And I'm not sure just how long I'll be able to live through this kind of hard work. But anyway, so there you have it. Now, let me just see if there's any other data that I moved, just to kind of double check. Okay. Oh, I've got some pictures that I forgot to move, so let's do those. No, I did move them. That's great. Okay. Okay. I mean, that's it. I have my Windows 7 because I followed the simple stealth VM migration from Series 11 to 12 that's in the FAQs. I also had to move my VM icons. Well, actually, they were over here. I had to move them from the source over into the hard drive, which is Series 12. So it wasn't that big a deal. And if I, as I say or said, if you forget something, just keep a backup of what you backed up, and don't delete it for, a few months until you're really comfortable. Okay. So, so there we have it. Now, of course, now it's time to really test everything and make sure that it all works. So I go up to internet and I go to my Brave browser and I put it down on my panel. And I like mine just kind of to the left of the email. And I'm really done with my external drive. I've got nothing else to copy. So I'm just going to safely remove it and test everything. I'll start with Thunderbird first. Okay. And there's Thunderbird with everything, all the passwords, every email account, the whole shooting match. Okay. And then I'm going to check my Brave browser. And this one takes a little bit longer to first boot, but it is at least 5 to 10 times faster than Firefox. And I'm learning that it's a lot more, it's actually a lot more compatible with websites than Firefox. For some reason, Firefox is really falling down, which is kind of sad. And I'm going to be getting rid of my Firefox. I just can't handle all the inconsistencies any longer. But let's test it, and there it is. Okay, so it's loaded, and it's got everything, all the bookmarks, passwords, everything. And so there you have it. Now, I did my migration to Windows 7 using the very easy video tutorial that you'll find in the FAQs. All right, so that's how easy it is to migrate your data. Now, if you used a stopwatch, you'll note that it didn't take me more than a few minutes to do this. And again, I mean, if I forgot something, well, I've got a backup on my external drive, so I can always go and retrieve the file if for some reason I hurried through the migration and forgot something. So there you have it. And thank you for watching this video. And I'd like to close all my videos with a few thoughts and a prayer. I really hope that somehow you have a lovely day in this beyond insane world that we're living in today. And may Yahweh bless you and your family greatly.